Hi everyone, today I'm talking about Carnival cruise stock, and I'm going to talk about why I bought more shares in Carnival cruise stock last week. And as always guys, smash that like button and we'll get stuck into it. So originally I bought Carnival Cruise Company about 2 years ago now, quite a long time ago. And back at that time when I was investing in the company, the stock was kind of on a 30% discount, and I thought this is a great opportunity to get into this stock. It's a company that was posting decent profit, decent revenue growth, and it had a really nice dividend at the time, and I thought this is on a little bit of a discount. I'll buy in here, hold a few shares. Now, I did not know around the corner we would have an event which would, completely destroy the economy, something that was not predicted, something that came out of the blue, a black swan event, and basically all the operations, Carnival cruises, just stop. And it's something that you can't really predict. And obviously it's really hurt the company, it's not operating, it's causing a lot of problems. And that's led to Carnival Cruise having to raise a lot of money and seeing how far they can get down the line without operating and still exist as a company basically. And we'll be talking about that a little bit later on in the video. Now obviously the stock price has been hurt. It's at one point was trading around about $8, where potentially I could have really bought them, but buying it, I bought at $12.16, which wasn't too bad. And like I say, it's still on a massive discount right now, so a few dollar differences are going to make a massive difference overall. And like I say, when you talk about these sort of prices, $12 for Carnival Cruises, it's the last time we were at these sort of prices. I think it was in 1997. So you imagine like all the people that have invested since 1997 are now pretty much down on the positions. It's kind of crazy to think in that sort of terms that, that's how far back it's pulled back now. And since investing in this company, I have to say it has changed. And this is probably the last time I'm going to buy this stock right now. I don't probably invest any more money into what I already do right now, because this has kind of changed for me. Originally when I got into this stock, it was a bit of a value play, a bit of a dividend play with a little bit of growth on that share price. Obviously it's totally changed right now, and it's now a spec stock for me, because with a spec stock there's a potential for it to do really well. Same time, there's a lot of risk. And when we talk about Carnival Corporation, there's a very high risk that this stock could go bankrupt over the next coming few months. And because of that, that puts it down as a spec stock. Now, I think that Carnival Cruises will get through it, but at the same time, there's a chance it could go bankrupt. If this event, it's very hard to predict what's going to happen with this event that's going on right now in the world. I can't really back Carnival and say like it's 100% going to get through it. I would say there's about a 30% risk that it could go bankrupt, which is the highest in my portfolio by far. Like, I don't really buy companies that I do have a risk going bankrupt. So that kind of says right away that we are dealing with a speculation stock right now. It's not a value play anymore. What I'm going to cover now is how much money can you make in this stock, and in 2 to 5 years, where do I see this stock? And I'm going to talk about what the potential upside is in this company right now, and that's why I bought these kind of shares at these sort of prices. So the major question hanging over the kind of Carnival's shoulders right now is the bankrupt. Is it going to go bankrupt? And I made a full video on this, but briefly my kind of view is that I don't see it going bankrupt, because I believe that Carnival will be operating again at least to some sort of function in about June time, maybe a little bit later, maybe July. Even if it was August, it wouldn't be too bad, because I think that Carnival could potentially get through at least a year with the money that it currently does have, and with the potential that it'll be able to cut down its operating costs because of not being operating. Obviously that's going to bring down what money it needs, and hopefully in the long term we should get around about a year through with what Carnival have with the cash they've managed to get or raise over the last few weeks. So my kind of view is that they'll make it through. Sure, there's going to be long-term damage with a lot of the reputation with the customers, but the bankrupt side I see them making through. So the first thing is that I see them getting through here, and then after I see them getting through the bankrupt, after what's going on in the world right now, after the CV, where do we see the stock going from here? So in 2 to 5 years, where do I see the stock and where am I going to make the money? So I see cruises kind of going back to where they were, maybe not back at 2019 kind of cruise numbers, but even if we were pulling out 2017, 2018 numbers, that'll be totally fine, because that will mean that Carnival will be having some good revenue, it'll have some good profit, and also it'll be able to pay a lot of these debt back, which is really expensive debt. Now, the one benefit that Carnival has over a lot of these other industries right now that are having to take this government bailout is that Carnival wasn't able to get this government bailout because they're not a US company. So even though the loan that they've got is really expensive, It gives them a little bit more control on what they can do with the dividend, which will really attract investors if they get this dividend back, even if it's a lower rate. And they could also potentially look at buybacks. But I think if the dividend came back, there'd be a lot of trust put back into Carnival as investors want to get back into it. And like I say, even if Carnival posts 2017 numbers and then carry on growing up from there, it'll be totally fine, because we'll know the company there is now back making profit and the share price will go back up. Now, back in 2017, the share price for Carnival was somewhere around the $40 range, and I don't think Carnival will shoot back up to them sort of prices right now, but that gives you kind of an insight into, if it's $12 now, $40, we're talking nearly about a 400% upside. I mean, there's some potential massive growth in this company. Now, I don't think it'll get to $40 anytime soon, but even if this company was going back up to a $30 stock, that's a lot of upside. We're talking about 100% upside right now. And I think if Carnival are operating and put in some good numbers, maybe not this year, we'll say 2020 is a write-off, but 2021, if it recovers and does like a decent kind of 2017 sort of numbers, the stock is definitely going to go up 100%. So when I invest in this company, what money am I going to make? I think that the stock price has the potential, if 2021 is a good year, for the stock price to go up 100% in about a year, 2 years, which would be absolutely fantastic. And then when we look at 2022, if it's able to pull out kind of like 2019 numbers, the stock price could definitely start going up to $40, $50, and then we'll kind of see a really nice upside of 200+%. And that's where I kind of see the company going in the long term. And like I say, I think it will survive. It will get back to some decent numbers. And previously, this company was really well run. It had great revenue growth, great EPS growth, and the profit was going up, which led the dividend to go up as well. And overall, it was a good investment with that dividend as well. And the cruise industry will start to recover and numbers will start going back up again. And that kind of cruise industry has always grown historically year over year. So overall, when I look in this investment 2 to 5 years down the line, I do see Carnival now as being at least probably a 2-year hold. It will probably go to about a 3-year before I kind of see a price that I'm kind of happy with. So overall, when I invest in Carnival at these sort of prices, I think there's a lot more upside, a lot more percentage upside than a lot of these airline stocks, for example, where the profit isn't growing. Carnival's profit was growing previously, and they'll be able to pull out some decent numbers, a lot less competition, and like I say, they've got a lot more control with the loans that they have. I have to say they are higher interest rates, but at the same time, they're not kind of controlled about paying all this back, because at the end of the day, they can do the dividend whenever they feel they're ready to pay that dividend, compared to a lot of these bailout companies that aren't able to do that. And overall, that's kind of my opinion on why I think Carnival is a decent price to get at with that little bit of a risk. Like I say, there is potential to lose all my money here, and I am investing in this stock thinking that is a risk in this one. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of upside as well. So for me, my reward to risk at these sort of prices I think are okay, and that's why I bought a few more shares. But like I say, I won't be buying any more after this, because that would be just too much into a spec stock for me. But that's me covering Carnival Cruises today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you in the next video.